Hello guys, and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to data science with Python. So in today's class we are still going to talk about Seaborn, and this will be our last class about this amazing tool. So up until now you understood that this is a really great visualization tool. Alright, so what we are going to learn today is pretty simple. We are going to learn to work with multiple plots or multiple graphs. So basically we are going to work with more than one graph. This is what it means. So to be able to understand better what type of analysis you guys can do, I decided to use another data set of from our databases. So we'll use the tips database. So first thing that we are going to do, we are going to import everything. So pretty simple. We are going to create a variable that will be called database, and as always, we are going to import our dataset. So load dataset. And what database want to import is the tips database. So here we go. We have everything right here. So we can run we need to print everything first. All right, here we go. All right, so we can run everything right now to see if everything works. So as you can see, the database is generated. So we have everything right here. This means that everything works just fine. All right, next thing that we want to do right now is creating our databases, our two graphs, sorry. So the first thing that we'll do is we are going to create another variable. This one, let's call it graph, because we are creating a graph. And here, what we want to do right now, we want to use another function that is called facedGrid. So once again, this is a Seaborn function. So we are going to start with sb.facedGrid. So pretty important, the F has to be in capital letters, because if it's not gonna work. All right, next thing that we need to write down, the first argument actually will be from where we are going to take our data. So we are going to take our data from the variable database. So this is what we'll write down. So database right here. Then what will be our columns. So our col, in this case, we want to know if the person is a male or a female. So inside of our columns, we will have the sex of the person. And finally, the hue, which in our case will be if the person is a smoker or no. So this is what we are looking for. All right, next thing that we are going to use is another function, which is map. So basically we want to create two graphs. So basically we are going to use the map function. So once again, graph.map. So basically the graph variable. And right now, what type of graphs that we want, or what type of plots that we want. Pretty simple. We want scatter plots because, in my opinion, this is the most representative of the situation that we are trying to study. All right. So right now, next thing that we want is what we want inside of our scatter plot. So we want the total bill and the tip. So right now we have everything that we need. So last thing that we'll do, simply show. So we need to show everything. So to see the graph. So plt.show. And then pretty simple, we just run everything. All right, so right now we receive this type of graph. So basically what can we understand if we want to make a quick analysis of this graph is pretty simple. So this graph is for male. So basically all those right here are guys and all the persons right here are girls. So basically we can see how many smokers. So we have smokers and no smokers. So basically the yellow ones are smokers and the blue ones are no smokers, have left a tip based on the total bill. So basically we are studying right now 4 variables. So we are able to study basically 4 variables just with one graph. So basically depending on the color, we are able to know how much the person have left tip. And we can also know, for example, if a smoker left more tip than a no smoker. And in this case, we can see that there is no correlation between smokers and no smokers. So basically if a smoker left more tip than a no smoker, so we can see it left pretty much the same thing. But what we can see in this graph, we can easily see that men's leave more tips, like for example in their extremes, leave more tips than women. So for example, so once again, based on the graph right here. And if we look at the average, it's pretty much the same thing. So men leave more tip than women based on the data right here, once again. So the extremes are more higher for men. This is what we see. So once again, this is what we can conclude with the analysis right here. So basically, as you can see, we are able to make an analysis with 4 variables. So we have the total bill, we have the tip, we have the sex of the person. So if the person is a male or a female, and finally, if the person is a smoker or a no smoker. So as you can see, we can make a complete analysis with the database that we have right here. So we can take a simple database that is right here and create something really advanced and really have really interesting data about, well, actually all the population that have ate at that restaurant. So as you can see, there is plenty of really interesting things that you guys can do with Seaborn. So what I showed you right now are just the basics. So basically we have learned how to create some plots or some graphs and the basics of analyzing those graphs. So right now, if you guys want to learn a little bit more, you can import your own databases. So basically from simply write down sb.load datasets, and you can import your own datasets and try to study them to understand a little bit more all the concept about, well, all the data science that is around those databases. There is a lot of really interesting things to learn. Besides of that, I hope you guys understood the power of Seaborn and how it could be really powerful in analyzing data. So this is really an amazing way to analyze data. And since it works with Matplotlib, you know that it's really high quality data visualization that you guys will have. So that's it for the Seaborn part of this class, and see you all on my all other class on the other class where we are gonna talk about some other topics about data science.